and welcome to my favourite childhood books. I've been having a bit of a moment recently reliving my childhood through TV because, I mean, Russell T Davies is back on Doctor Who and I am back to the same level of obsession I had with it when I was a child. I've also been rewatching the X-Men movies and feeling like a kid again, and also I recently started rewatching the Terminator movies, which was something I was absolutely, completely and utterly obsessed with when I was a kid. And so what I thought I'd do today is actually go through some of the books I was completely obsessed with as well when I was a kid. So let's go through some of this list. First we have Philip Reeve's Larklight. I remember this one not that well, I won't lie, despite the fact that I read this over and over and over and over again when I was a kid. All I remember is that this is set in space and there's something to do with 3 siblings and a ship. That's all I remember because I've read a lot of books since then, but I remember absolutely loving this book to the point where I would read it, get to the end, go back to the beginning again and read it all over again. And I literally wouldn't stop to do anything else. I'd just go straight back to the beginning again and read it from the beginning despite the fact I'd just finished it. And I just remember absolutely loving it. I don't remember a single thing about it further than the fact that it was 3 kids in space on a ship, but I remember absolutely loving this book so much. It was so much fun and I could never part with it now because I just have such fond memories of reading this book. Then there was The Secret of Platform 13. This is by Eva Obbotson and I actually remember this being in our car door, which is a weird place to keep a book, but for some reason it was in like the pocket of the car door. And I just remember it being there for like a solid year, and I picked it up quite a few times throughout that year and it just kept on ending up in the car door and then randomly throughout in different places around the house. It kind of followed me in a sense, and I read this several times when I was a kid as well. I was so in love with this story. This is about a young boy who is the prince of this magical island, and to keep him safe they send him off to the real world so he can be raised there instead, to keep him out of the way of danger and things. And then when he comes of age, several people from this island have to go and get him, and it was a really magical story. There was these little cute seal things that sighed mist, if I remember rightly, and things like this. And I actually read this recently, I think last year, and it didn't live up to expectations, which sort of scares me for rereading any of the other books on this list apart from like one of them, which you'll see in a minute, which is for obvious reasons. But yeah, I just remember loving this when I was a kid though, and even though I didn't enjoy it as much as an adult, I don't think I could ever part with it because those memories are so sort of special to me. I don't think I could ever part with this book. I also read Nurse Matilda, aka Nanny McPhee, when I was a kid. I remember reading the first sort of 2 stories. There were 3 in this, and I remember I got about halfway through the 3rd one. I don't know why, but I ended up stopping reading it. Don't ask me why, I don't know, but I remember loving these books. I picked this one up because I loved the Nanny McPhee film. I absolutely love that film. I still love that film to this day, and I wanted to read the original book, so I did, and I've just got such fond memories of going through whenever it went through like the list of all of the naughty things the kids were doing, and I'd literally go through and then write down the names of all of the kids so I could count them up, because there was always more kids in every single book. Like the first one there was like 20, by the second one there was like 30 of them because they kept on adopting more children and things like this, and it was always really good fun to read and sort of count all of them up and being like, my god, how many more kids have they got this time round, which was always great fun. I always have such fond memories of reading these, and I really need to rewatch the movie because it's been a very long time since I watched the movie, but I always really enjoyed this book and like the film as well, and I could again never part with it despite how battered it is because it's been through several moves and stuff, because it is just such a fun read, and again I have such fond memories of counting all of those kids and all the rest of it. Then there was also Fire and Ice. This is by Jackie and Andrews, and this is all about our main character Silk, who is a fire like user, fire mage I should say. Is it a fire mage? Yeah, fire mage who is a private investigator, and she's having to try and figure out who's trying to kill off the princess of this world, and she ends up teaming up with her other character who is a telepath who can also use ice powers. They end up winding each other up a lot, but they end up having to team up together to essentially try and deal with whoever's trying to bump off the princess. And I remember loving this book so much, it literally stayed in my school bag for 2 years. And it was like a library book from the school, and they just never asked for it back, so I just sort of carried it around with me for 2 years in my bag pointlessly. But I just remember really loving it, and admittedly I've got the sequel and I never read the sequel, but I remember loving this one. I should probably reread this one and that sequel to just sort of finish out the series, and also to just remember how much I enjoyed this, because I had such a good time with this one. And I also was really jealous of our main character's sense of style, and also her hair, which is actually green, and obviously my hair's now green. And I don't think I was subconsciously thinking about this book. I may have been, because obviously it was subconscious, but yeah, I just remember really, really like loving this book so much when I was a kid and carrying it around for 2 years in my school bag, which I probably shouldn't have done, but I mean I did. And yeah, I just remember really loving this, and I should really reread this at some point because I know I enjoyed this book so much when I was about 12. There was also Emily the Strange. This one is called The Lost Days, and I don't know who this is by, but I remember loving this book when I was a kid because I was a big fan of the brand Emily the Strange, and I had quite a lot of Emily the Strange clothes and things like this. She reminded me a lot of Wednesday, and I really, really enjoyed this book because it's all about Emily who ends up with amnesia. She's trying to figure out what happened to her. There's a lot of like drawings and photos throughout here, this kind of thing, and I just remember really, really loving this book, and I should again reread this and check out the rest of the series because I had such a good time with this one. And then finally, Would I Be Me if I did not mention Skullduggery Pleasant as one of my favourite childhood books, because this was the childhood book for me. I read this so many times when I was a kid and I absolutely adored it. I admit I did fall off the series when I was a teenager, simply because I just wasn't reading books at that point. I was reading a lot of fanfic instead, but there we go. I'm still reading, I was just reading fanfic instead of books, and I just absolutely adored it, and I still adore it to this day. I literally co-hosted a read-along for this, which will hopefully actually be being resurrected soon, funnily enough, because we've got to talk about Mindful of Murder, Hell Breaks Loose, and the new audio drama that's coming out this summer, all of this kind of thing, so hopefully that will be resurrected soon, so keep an eye out on all of our socials because we will announce it all there. But this is the book for me. This was my childhood book. I love this book so much. I literally like felt so sort of, I mean, I literally grew up with this book because I was 11 when I started it. Valkyrie was 11 in the first book. Then when it got to Until the End, which was the final book in the second arc of this series, which we literally thought was going to be the final one ever, she was 26, I was 26, so I kind of grew up with her in that sense. My uncle gave me this book to read in the first place because he went, "It's a magical skeleton detective. You're really going to enjoy this, you massive nerd goth," essentially, and he was right. And obviously Valkyrie's uncle got her into the magical world as well by no like fault of his own. He was kind of dead at the time, but it was his fault that she's ended up with this life, all of this kind of thing. So those parallels were really fun to me. I really love the humour of this, I love the world of this. The plot twist have given me multiple moments of doing a double take, so I'm like, wait, whoa, what do you mean that's just happened? And all of the rest of it, it's so beautifully done. It is brilliantly like, it's just so much fun. It is so brilliant, it's so much fun. I will recommend this until the cows come home because I love this series so much, and it was the childhood book for me. It was absolutely the childhood book for me. I'm so glad it's continuing. This is my childhood book. This is my childhood book 100%. This series is everything to me. It is absolutely everything to me. Out of all of these books, this is the one that I will love forever. I will absolutely love it forever and a day. It's just my favourite. It is absolutely my favourite. I've talked about this enough. I'm going to put this down because I think I've spent enough time on this channel and in this video talking about how much I love Skullduggery. And that's why I'm going to leave this, because I don't really have any other childhood books that I want to mention right now. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please do give me a thumbs up. Comment down below, tell me your favourite childhood book. I'd love to know. Or if you don't have that much time, leave me a skull emoji down below to let me know that you were here. I'll also leave a link as well down below to all of my social media if you want to check it out, including to the Comic Book Sanctum, which is my website dedicated to Marvel Comics, which actually has a guide on there for everything Derek Landy has ever written for Marvel Comics if you are interested in that, as well as a link as well down below to my bookish Etsy store if you want to treat yourself to something bookish today. Or if you just want to see any more of my videos, please click subscribe here, and over here will be the link to my previous video. But until next time everyone, bye!